Hey there, ladies and gentle boys, Spazzy Dragon here, aka Syndromes, and holy hell, look at this Discovery Freelancer Update 5.0. I never thought that I would live to see the day when we abandoned the 4.xx naming scheme for Discovery Freelancer. And this is, quite frankly, one of the more interesting updates that I've seen for Disco so far. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome to Discovery Freelancer. This is a total conversion mod for the game Freelancer from 2003 by Microsoft and Digital Anvil. This is a multiplayer-centric roleplay mod, similar to something like GTA Roleplay or similar such titles, where you take up the role of basically, for the lack of a better comparison, and this is a comparison that I've made many times before. Imagine you're playing Skyrim or a Bethesda game where you are encountering NPCs and talking to them and choosing your own, whatever, your dialogue options. Well, just imagine that, but instead of NPCs, you encounter other people, and instead of choosing pre-recorded, like pre-written text dialogue, you write it yourself, and obviously the other person in return writes them back. You can have peaceful discussions, philosophy, fights, conflict, drama. It's basically a 24/7 D&D group which people have agreed to play on the server, behave with their characters in roleplay, and it has been going on since 2006 at least, on many different servers. This is the last surviving one. It's still active, it's still a thing, the community is welcoming to new players. The game is abandonware, which means that it's free, you can download it off a torrent site that we link to, and the mod is free to download and free to play. There's no microtransactions, there's no donations. Just hop in if any of this sounds interesting, and we'll set you up. Anyway, one of the things that I want to point out for those of you who are familiar with Disco, since this is literally the way that my channel started off, but I wanted to quickly read a small quote from the Fire and Fortitude Fortune, sorry. And basically it's that using the word patch isn't really fair here. This is a massive overhaul of the game's standards, all the basic mechanics. I was going to read that, but my OBS window is currently in front of it, so I think I'm not. Anyway, I wanted to first of all make sure that anyone subscribed to my channel is aware that this has happened, and it's currently like midday for Europe, and the player count is already, rising quite steadily. So hey, this is still, a thing. Disco hasn't died, unlike PlanetSide, apparently. But yeah, today we are just going to make a new character and jump right in. For those of you who have never, experienced a roleplay service before, there's a couple of rules, or at least there's a lot of rules, that you have to be aware of when joining a roleplay server. So basically, all of your in-game actions when it comes to your character are in roleplay. Depending on what kind of character you make, it can be, say, a police officer, it can be a trader, it can be a mining ship. Every single one of these characters has a ID item that basically dictates, it's your character sheet basically, and it dictates what you can and cannot do, just like a true lawful character cannot just suddenly go, murder hobo and kill everyone, or at least, that would be against the character's design. Similar in this game, you are basically choosing what kind of role you want to play, and you stick to that role. And it's basically how you go around, interact with other people, and the game itself that is the fun part. Now, of course, we're 4 minutes in and we still haven't played the game, so, well, let's make a starting ship. There's many ways to do this. Essentially, it's either choosing the name of the ship, so, you have the, the lasting damage or something like that. That's one of my old ships. Or you can name your character after the name of your character. So, yeah, let's go with Brian Holt. So Brian Holt is going to be a new ship. It has not a lot of funds. It's located in the Pennsylvania system, which is our newbie system. The starting ship is called a Kestrel, which is not a Starflyer, because that's one of the things that that has been done in this game. It has been quite a while. It's been 33 years after the events of Vanilla Freelancer, so ship design, ship types, and the base ships that you can get has all evolved, and that is currently reflected in the mod. The mod, again, is very old. It started in 2006, so there's a lot of content to actually go through, including many new ship types instead of just fighters. And unlike many other games, where, especially other Freelancer mods, where they add some sort of ship classes, we did make sure to make every ship class viable, so the Freelancer purists can stick to their chops when it comes to very heavy fighters and dueling and eagles if they want to, but at the same time, you can also fly massive capital ships and still find fights with, other people. But yeah, let's go. Let's undock. So, Planet Erie is the starting point for every single character, and once you undock, you'll notice that the chat is going to start giving us some very helpful hints when it comes to what to do. So here we are. We are in the Pennsylvania system. Let's take a look at the map. The Pennsylvania system is in fact connected to New York. If you are a little bit more, at ease in New York, if you are a vanilla player looking into the mod, this is where you can go. It's not far. So, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at Planet Erie. It's the planet that we literally just undocked from. Like this. Erie was first discovered by Liberty explorers in 679 IS, is briefly considered as a potential option for the resettlement of undesirables from planet Houston, which has suffered from endemic issues of crime and underemployment since Dallas. So, incident over a century earlier. But essentially what happens is that zoners would be the first to colonize Erie instead, and Erie's dangerous conditions promoting the formation of close-knit, well-armed, and walled settlements. These sorts of zoner communities continue to exist, etc., etc. So every single thing about the mod is written with lore in mind. All of the story advancements are mostly guided by the devs, but they are played out by, the players, just like you have a D&D session or a Pathfinder session where the Dungeon Master basically allows you to steer the progression of the story either by the book or by your own choices. Anyway, we have quite a few things happening here, so let's see what we can do. First of all, I did not know this. I don't know why, but it looks like this trade lane ring is in fact damaged. Is this intentional? I wonder. Anyway, so about those rules. You can find them in the forums. There's also other means to do that. But first of all, I want to just explore, because I have not been in this place for quite a long time. And it looks like whatever happened to that trade lane ring also happened to this place. So funnily enough, this kind of feels familiar, because the Pennsylvania system actually looked a lot different in the first renditions of the mod when it was added. So this is very new to me. I do want to see what happened here. It's a base wreck. This base, at some point in its history, was wrecked, and the remains of the superstructure and various base modules occupied the area of the base once stood. Alright, that's good to know. So what actually did Harrisburg tell us? With a pilot, there have been reports of increased Liberty Rogue and Xeno activity in the area. We are now paying more for any criminal pilots you deliver to Harrisburg Station next to Planet Erie. You may either take missions against them or seek out their patrols yourself. within the fields. Bounties are being offered for the successful destruction of pirate trains hauling contraband in the system. So that's something new. I know for the fact because I wrote these 3 lines. This 4th one is something new, though. Okay, well, let's actually take a look. So, back in the day, this starting system, it had a few points of interests, most likely in this place over here, where there existed a Junker station, and Junkers are one of the more, in my opinion, interesting factions from a lore perspective, just because of the amount of leeway it has of what you can do. Junkers are kind of like a gray area, though a lot of lawfuls will always treat them with suspicion simply because they are basically the owners on lawful freeports, and they really do a lot of shady stuff. But the amount of shadiness you can do with a Junker really varies on, depending on what kind of character you want to play. Let's actually take a look. So, remember how I said you have your character sheet? Well, let's take a look. So this is the character sheet that I start with. It's called an ID, and every single player has an ID. This is for the very simple purpose where if you meet another player, you can scan their ship, you can see their ID, and you as a player have a more or less kind of hint of what kind of character you have just met. It's up to you to still figure out what sort of character it is by interacting with them, but at least the ID will tell you what to expect. So for example, freelancers are people not affiliated with any faction in particular. They generally operate independent trade ships or small ships, like our freighter. They sometimes act as mercenaries, but mostly just explore Sirius, taking the odd job here and there to pay for fuel and supplies. So basically, this sort of ID allows me to fly around without any restriction, apart from, consequences of my own actions taken for or against certain groups. And this ID also makes sure that I have no obligations, as some other, ones would do. So let's take a look. This generic ID used by freelancers who can attack any ship to protect allies. So for example, if I'm playing with a friend and he gets attacked by someone, I can protect him. I can attack any ship in pursuit of a contract. Contracts are essentially missions that are posted by other players. I can elaborate on that a little bit later. And cannot use cruisers, battleships, or ships with more than 3,600 cargo space, except for the ship named the Ian and the pirate train. So essentially what this means is I can go everywhere, do technically everything, but I can only attack other people in self-defense, and of course I don't have the access to the largest, biggest ships in the game, which is, fair enough. It's a good trade-off, I think. Anyway, one of the easiest ways to actually find new things would be to follow patrol routes, be it, neutral, friendly, or whatever. So I am currently passing a enemy one, which is good. But that also means... What does that also mean? That means there's something here in this field, probably. I'm not friendly to anyone, so I'm not seeing any friendlies. But there is something behind here, and I want to see what it is. Anyway, my experience with the Discovery Freelancer community has been a interesting one. I started playing in, early 2008. I've been around for quite a while. I've did very stupid things, and I did good things, I hope. But to come back and just go after literally not touching it or even, thinking about it for literal years is quite a interesting... Okay, this is interesting. So this is a Junker weapons platform. Okay, I think we literally just found the Junker base. So that is what that neutral patrol route is. A Junker's depot. It's not dockable, though. So what is this? Hey, that's really strange. usually when something like this happens, you are able to dock on it, but not this time around. That's... Okay, that is actually throwing me for a small loop. Okay, let's go over there then. Yeah, so I'm not really going to take a look at the other players because they're probably testing things, because the update actually came out very recently. Actually, there's a lot of people sitting in New York. I might go actually there in a moment. But yeah, Freelancer is one of my more favorite spaceship games, simply because the way that it portrays its, you know, surroundings a little bit better. That's another storage asteroid miner. Okay, it's a mineable zone. Okay, that's interesting. Now, our ship actually does have a mining array. So, my question is, helium mining zone. Alright, let's take a look. So these small rocks over here, I can mine them, and as I shoot them, they are going to go into my cargo hold. Oh, my ship's cargo hold. My cargo hold is pretty small. So let's just mine a little bit of this. Yeah, okay. So we have 620 units of helium. It's just that we don't really know where to sell it. So I guess we will have to actually go to New York. First of all, I'm actually going to very quickly take a look at what is over here, in this place where the neutral patrol routes intersect, and after we check that, we are going to go back to Erie and go back to Pennsylvania. Sorry, New York. Because we might as well. But yeah, as a player playing your character in the world of Freelancer, or in the universe of Freelancer, you can basically play whatever. Every single faction you remember from the base game is present, and there's a lot more of them as well. Okay, let's see. Did we find something new? Okay, so there's still something over there. I'm not going to waste more time. Let's just go back to Planet Erie. And yeah. So I don't actually have my weapon groups set up in the way that I want. I'll have to do that a little bit later. But for now, let's just go back. I've actually not seen New York for quite a while. It has undergone some changes as far as I know, because, oh boy, since 2006, there's been quite a few lore-centric developments, and I realize... Oh, what is this? Burn. What are you? The Vern was a zoner freighter bound for Bethlehem with much needed supplies, but when interdicted by rogues... Okay. They wanted to steal the cargo for some quick cash. The pilot tried to best escape. Evidently, he found little success in this venture. So, what do we have? We have nanobots, we have Helios turrets, helium... Oh, deuterium. Okay. Just out of sheer curiosity... Okay. Oxygen, I know for a fact, is useless. So, let's go. Well, that was interesting. A little bit of lore. One of the ways you can make money is finding these sort of things. So, again, this is an exploratory game, apart from just interacting with other players and doing your character's roleplay. But, you know, it's something for you to sort of just find. Experience for yourself, because honestly, every single time that I've made a video about Discovery Freelancer, every single time this experience has been, you know, different in subtle or not so subtle ways. So someone actually made a racetrack here, which is interesting. With custom music, no less. Alrighty then. That is quite a thing. Alright, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the other trade lane this time around. We're going to go to this planet over here. I'm not actually familiar with this planet. It's planet Bruin. What about it? The large desert world of Bruin is one of the largest planets in Sirius that don't fall into the category of gas giants. Its thick atmosphere, however, doesn't contain nearly enough oxygen to support organic life, and storing strong gravitational field makes any terraforming attempts impossible right from the start. But it looks like it has not prevented us to actually place a station next to it. Philadelphia Station. Let's see. Philadelphia Station was originally meant to be a free port, but over the years, more and more of the station has been bought up by various corporate entities. The station has also been expanded significantly, with small manufacturing plants and biodomes providing for diverse population on the station. Liberty Police Incorporated maintains order on the station nowadays, and most of the zoners who once lived on Philadelphia have either moved to Bethlehem or Erie. Okay. That's neat to know. So, as far as I understand, Pennsylvania was once, technically speaking, a zoner system until, Liberty started pushing their narrative on them. Or that's how it goes. Alright, this place is a little bit more familiar. So this is the jump gate to Pennsylvania to New York. And let's just go through and see what we find. The video is currently at 21 minutes in. I think we are going to do 10 more minutes, and then I'll do the next one. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I have a feeling, I have a sneaking suspicion that the server might have cacked itself. Yes. Yes, it might. Well, that's unfortunate, but that is just the realism of, a completely new update. Well, it is how it is. Well, I guess we might as well... Oh, no. There we go. Well, it's doing something. It just went through. The command to jump went through, and my chat message did appear, so I think it's not yet completely dead, but it's having a moment, let's say. Alright, ladies and boys, I think I'm going to just cut the first episode here. If you think that you want to take a look at Disco again, if you're a returning player or a potentially returning player, this is the time to do it. He said as he gets disconnected. But yeah, that is just how it is with, first day after patch hits. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this is Spazzy Dragon, aka Syndromes. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on with, Disco again. So, hey, I'll pick you later.